Welcome back to my channel, Tummy Warriors. Today I wanted to talk about if I were to heal my ab separation again, what would I do? So I am a mama of two. My son is 6 years old now and my daughter is 4.5. But if I were to, let's say, get pregnant again, or if I were to go back in time, go back to after my first or second pregnancy, what would I do again to prevent or to heal my 4.5 fingers diastasis recti? Now, after my first pregnancy, I had no clue that there was a term that diastasis recti or ab separation existed, so I never knew about that. And even after I'd been done all those exercises that I did back in the days, I didn't know that until the very end, just before I got pregnant again with my second one. Then I realized,
oh, the reason why my belly wasn't going away was because of the diastasis recti.
And then after the second pregnancy, although I had some knowledge in diastasis, I was still newbie to that term. Because when you ask your OB, they kind of brush it off. It's like a normal thing, and they tell you,
oh, you know what, you might just try physiotherapist. If not, surgery is like the only way to get a flatter tummy back.
They weren't really serious about the complication or implications, not just physically, but mentally, what you have to endure when you had that big belly. So it was never really to a point where like,
oh, this is really, really important that I really need to focus and pay attention to.
All the focuses that you have and everybody around you, your midwives, doctor, is all on the baby, right? It rarely is on the mama herself, unless it's like blood pressure, you have other medical condition, then they will look at it. But having a bulging belly,
oh, that's normal, no problem, everybody has it.
So that was kind of the attitude that everybody gave me. And then so after even the second pregnancy, I didn't really get into it with
like, oh, I have to get this done, like I have to get it right way,
or like I was feared that I would be doing something wrong, because that information didn't even really exist at that time for me. I know nowadays there are a lot of saying that you shouldn't be doing crunches or you shouldn't be doing vigorous exercises because it could worsen the separations in the abdomen, making you look even bigger. So I didn't even have that at that time. I didn't even have to fear for it. But then if I were to get pregnant again now, let's say I can go back in time and you're watching this video, I wanted to share with you my experience now that I look back and able to connect the dots in all over the places that I've done, and thinking back of what I could have done better and what I could have do things differently now that I learned all the information. So now I become a postpartum corrective exercise specialist, what I could do to help myself at that time. So I want to share with you. Okay, let's dive in. Now I would divide the timing into 3 sessions. One is when you're pregnant, during pregnancy, and the second one would be the first 6 weeks after postpartum, and then the third session would be after 6 weeks postpartum. So these are the 3 main, I guess, period in mama from second, third, fourth trimester and then beyond that. Now let's start with the during pregnancy. Just during pregnancy, I didn't really know about DR. I was never a fitness person. That was the really key thing for me. Like I was always skinny. I would be able to go back in shape, no problem, just doing some cardios afterward, that'll be fine for me. So that was always the mindset for me. I never had to exercises and I didn't enjoy doing exercises, to be honest. So I didn't exercise. But now if I were to look back to where I should be doing some exercises, and not just any exercises, but exercise that target the transverse abdominal muscles. So the transverse abdominal muscle is the deepest core layers of your muscles, of your core muscles. So like this is my belly, like in the back here, that will target the deepest core layers of the muscle for core engagement. I would work on core engagement exercises, knowing how to activate the transverse abdominal muscles. I would also do some Kegels to help me with the pelvic floor muscles. Sometimes they could become too tight or it could become too loose. You don't really know, but you should be doing some exercises so that it's actually working for you when you want it to. And another thing that I would definitely do, and I really regret not doing it a little bit earlier, is to actually wear a pregnancy to postpartum back binder. I did wear a back binder, but very, very late into pregnancy, like when I felt like my back was about to snap in half. That was probably like 35th or 6th weeks of pregnancy, and my belly was huge. It was like as if people thought I was carrying twins. If I were to wear my pregnancy binder earlier, it would help me with my back because I was enduring a lot of back pain, and it also would help me to correct my posture when I'm standing and when I'm sitting. And the binder that I would recommend is something that has a good supports in the back that give you a backing, and then straps that you're able to strap over on the belly and strap on pelvis area and even on your ribs area, so that you're not completely flaring out the rib cage. During pregnancy, the back, having a better posture, having a better alignment would be very important. So having a belly wrap like this or a back support would be important. And this one that I always recommend is bellies, and you can wear it during pregnancy, and you can wear it right away after you gave birth. When you're able to have a better posture, your lumbar spine in the back is going to compress less, because the little spine like nuggets, they compress each other so tight when your back is bending backward. Because you imagine, you can see that your belly is very big in the front, and you have to squeeze that nuggets in the spine nuggets, squeeze and compress together. So they're enduring a lot of pressure. And that's why you have those kind of back pain. And it doesn't just go away after you give birth, because your spine is so accustomed to how you are standing and bending while you're pregnant. So it's still gonna be curving like that with the anterior pelvic tilt. So you will feel a lot of pressure still on your spine. So wearing a belly binder will help you to support your back, wrapping it snugly, not too tight of course, but like giving that extra support from the bottom up, from your pelvis area, and wrap it to the back. So it helps you with when you're walking, when you're standing. So those are definitely the things I would have loved to do if I were to go back in time to help myself with pregnancy. Definitely do some exercises, the exercises that target the core muscles, and wearing the pregnancy binders. Okay, now let's move on to after you deliver your baby. Congratulations. Now, the first 6 weeks is going to be a critical window for healing your connective tissues, for your body to rebalance, and for your body to adjust. Now, the first 6 weeks in Chinese tradition, I'm Chinese, we have like a 4 weeks confinement period where you should not be going outside the house to do anything. You should be just resting, focus on your nutrition, focus on recovering your body, and also on your nutrition to help to produce the milk and help you to recover. I like that idea, and I did that for most part. I mean, I still did some walk. I went out even at 2 weeks postpartum. So I follow it to some extent. But the thing I didn't do at that time was any exercises. And I'm not talking about exercises where you have to like be on your feet and do many things, but simple practicing of breathing exercises, inhaling 360 breathing exercises. And that's the exercises that I really wish that I could have done at that time. And these exercises are things that you can do on your bed while you're resting with your baby. And so when you think about deep inhale, when I tell you to, let's take a deep inhale, you might be thinking about breathing into your chest, or just breathing into your belly, expanding the belly like a balloon. When people telling you, and this is a lot of yogis, yoga instructor will tell you, okay, breathe into your belly, and you're extending your belly, making the belly looks bigger than you are. But a true 360-degree breathing, and that's what I teach my clients in my Tummy Warrior coaching program, is to be able to breathe into your chest, not just your chest, but also into your belly. But not just that, expand the side and also the back, because your diaphragm is attached to your back of your muscles, and the expansion should be 360 degree, and that's why I call it 360 degree breathing. So you wanted to practice about relaxation instead of tensing. Like, because if I'm doing this, you're in that fight or flight response where like you're very tense in your neck and jaw area. It's gonna make you even more tense, and maybe you even have some migraine triggering into you if you always constantly breathe like that. And you have to kind of hold your breath to breathe like that. And you can't do a core contractions later on when you do practice that. It's impossible, because you're sucking in your belly. There's not much room for you to contract anymore. But vice versa, if you're only breathing into the belly, if you already have a pretty bad diastasis recti like I did, your belly is already pretty big, and if you inflate it with even more pressure and breath, the connective tissue is going to expand more. It's not going to help you with the healing of the separations. So a proper breathing, 360 breathing would be really important for you to learn. So you can always put your palm on your chest and one palm on your belly to feel that breathing pattern on you. So you can put it like that. So if you even take a breath with me here on this video, when you think about deep inhaling, and when you're doing that deep inhaling, do you find yourself, is it just the belly that is moving, or is it just the chest? And then you can put your palms on your side. This is where the ribs, and see if it's able to expand into your palm. So this is something you can practice, whether you're on your bed lying comfortably with your newborn baby, or maybe you're sitting on your nursing chair. You can definitely practice that. And I miss that window of being able to breathe. So I didn't learn about it at all until like couple of years later. So this is a big missing puzzles in my diastasis journey, and I really wish somebody would have told me. And now another thing I would do, now this is not really applicable to who I was because I didn't have cesarean birth. Both of my births were vaginal birth. If you had a C-sections, or if I were to have C-sections, I would definitely massage the C-section scar. And don't be afraid to be acquainted with your belly, with your body earlier postpartum. Sometimes you might feel a little weird to touch yourself, or you might even be a little uncomfortable to touch that area. And not to say that you have to pinch it, you have to massage it, you have to like touch it so hard that it hurts, but I would definitely be like using your finger bouncing around that cesarean scar. Try to knit it like that. Like if I'm putting just this much pressure around the scar area so that the muscles are gliding, they're not stitched together by the cesarean stitches. But of course, use caution, use your common sense and see whether it is just too painful for you to touch at that point. But I would definitely start earlier so that the muscles are healing with the stitches. Now, one more thing I would definitely do after giving birth is wearing my postpartum belly wrap. And this is the same one that I showed you earlier. While you're pregnant as well, you can still wear that. But I think it's even more important to wear this right away after giving birth. And I did not even wear this until I visited my physiotherapist at 6 weeks postpartum. But that's like that, the whole golden window is gone. Your body is trying to spontaneously, is trying to heal for you. But if you have some extra support like the belly wrap, it's gonna help the core muscles that's stretched out to come inside to the middle together. When I wear it now, even after 6 weeks postpartum, after that window, I could still feel that it helped a lot, tremendously, I would say. But in the first 6 weeks, maybe after I wear it, 6 weeks later, I don't even have DR. I truly believe that that would have helped so much. So do yourself a favor, make sure you get a good belly support, a belly wrap support. I do link a link here down below. The wrap is by Bellies, and if you use Tummy Warrior, you get 10% off. Now here we are at 6 weeks postpartum. You're starting to feel good about your body. You're eager to do something for yourself now, because now that your baby is sleeping more, your milk supply is a little bit more stable, you finally feel good to take care of yourself. Use your judgment, but if you do feel good, walking is encouraged. But also, it's a good idea to see the physiotherapist. I saw her at 6 weeks postpartum, but thinking back, I should have seen her a little earlier, maybe around 4 weeks postpartum. It's great to have somebody to check on you, especially if you're clueless about diastasis recti. I had no clue what it was, and it's just like,
oh, I cannot touch myself. I don't even know how to self-measure.
But if you wanted to self-measure, I'll link a link here below. It's great to have somebody to give you that diagnose, or like give you that confirmations that, okay, this is how wide and how deep your diastasis recti is. But of course, having a good women's physiotherapist would be very important too, not just any physio, because somebody maybe who are in rehabilitations for sport might not know what's going on with the postpartum body. So you wanted to do your research to go to a women's health physiotherapist who focuses on diastasis recti, and then have her to do a check to see your pelvic floor health strength, as well as the diastasis recti, how wide and how many fingers gap you actually have, or 2, 3, 4, and how deep. Is it a nail deep, 1 knuckle, 2 knuckle, or maybe like a whole finger can sink into that gap? So that's why it's important for you to know where your starting point is, so that you know actually you're progressing if you are going to do exercises, right? If you are 3 months later, you have actually something to compare to that.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually healing from 3 fingers now to 2.5 fingers.
So you know where to go. And also, when you go to see the physio, they will probably give you some exercise to start with. When I went there, it was a piece of paper with a couple graphic picture to show me how to exercise this, and she showed me one time in her clinic. And so, okay, so then I had a pointer. It was really just a very simple exercises, and I have that exercise link here. It's a scarf exercises, and I do believe that it has helped, but I find it really boring, and it was just one exercise that I do over and over and over and over again for like a whole month and a half, maybe around 6 weeks. But it is important to do that. At the same time, I feel like I was in that critical window, even at 6 weeks postpartum, right? I feel like I should use this window to do more exercises. So if I were to do it again, what I would add is some stretching and postural exercises to help with my anterior pelvic tilt. So earlier I was saying how your spine is like an S shape because your belly is pulling you forward, so your spine is arching like that. To help you to correct that posture, you need to do some postural exercises to help you with it, and it will help you with your belly bulging. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was adding collagen and protein-rich food to help me to heal the connective tissues. When we eat food like that, like bone broth, it will help you to repair that connective tissue, and also watching out my portion when I'm eating. You know, when you're breastfeeding, you're always hungry, and then you always just want to eat all day long, and sometimes you just don't know how much you ate. One thing is gaining weight, but another thing is actually feeling very bloated after eating all that food, and you see your tummy grow even bigger because it's not just the DR, it's actually the bloat that you're experiencing, meaning the more pressure is inside your tummy, right? Your intestine is expanded from the food that you're eating, also then stretching that weakened core muscles already. So I would definitely focus on the food, focus on the portions, and focusing on food that is good collagen and good protein to help you to repair that connective tissues. Now, another thing I would definitely do after 6 weeks postpartum is to learn about bulging, sinking, and doming. I will make a video separately for this, but you can go to my Instagram, BeckyChoi_, and you will see what I mean by doming, bulging, and sinking. But in simple terms, I wanted to tell you, because your connective tissue is very distorted now. It's very weakened, very thin. It's not as bouncy like an elastic band anymore, just like very wiggly and stretched like a stretched out elastic band. So even with the simple movement, you will feel that your belly is bulging out. It makes really weird shape. It's like a tenting, doming effect. Sometimes you see your belly is moving by itself. It's because of the weakened core muscles, and you will see doming or bulging out. It's like maybe you have flatter upper tummy, but the lower bottom, the lower abdomen is bulging out a lot more than the upper or mid abdomen. Or you might see sinking in the separations where the gap is, there's tissue there, right? But instead of bulging out or doming out, it's sinking in. It's a ridge and then sink in like that. So that's a sign that is telling you the movement that you just did or exercise that you just did is too difficult, or you weren't activating your deepest core muscle. So that's not efficient for you when it comes to exercising. Watching out the signs when you're moving, when you are switching position, even like from one hand to another hand, holding your baby, getting on and off the floor, getting on and off the couch, the bed, and even simple bending down to pick up a toy. And those are the things that you might want to watch out how your core is feeling. So learning that would be important for you. It's a great awareness to have, because when I started doing light core cardio exercises, I had no clue what these terms mean, like the doming, bulging, sinking. So I was doing the exercises, and yes, I was losing the weight, and yes, I felt good doing the cardio exercises, but it wasn't really doing too much to my core because I didn't know that I wasn't really working on it efficiently. And at the same time, I wasn't watching out my form while doing the exercises, like a proper squat, like a proper lunges, or like even a twisting motion. I was just kind of following online workout videos, and I was just following the trainers online, and I felt like when I'm looking at her, she's doing like that.
Oh, I must be kind of similar doing like her, or like the modifications beside her. I'm like, oh, I can't be that bad.
But thinking back, I really wanted to have a mirror in front of me while doing the workouts so I can see how I did the workout. Because a lot later on, I don't know, maybe even like a year and a half later on, when I actually add the mirror to see how I was doing, I was shocked because I was like, wow.
I was actually doing a squat like that, or like I was even lifting my leg like that. Like it was horrible kind of posture.
Because I already had really bad anterior pelvic tilt, and when I was bending a certain way, it just exaggerated the thing that I shouldn't be doing. So it was really not good for my posture, first of all, but also not good for the belly to heal. It's good to move around for my heart and all of that, but it's not efficient for healing diastasis. And just knowing how to breathe 360-degree breathing that I was talking earlier, and knowing how to actually engage your core properly so that you're not doming, sinking, and bulging out. That will be very important when you're advancing to your different workouts. And the rest of it is progressive overloading exercises. And I got that part right. Now, what it means with progressive overloading is means you need to have challenges in your core. So just say, for example, you wanted to build bicep and you need to use dumbbells to lift weights, right? But let's say if you're just lifting a water bottle weight, do you think you're actually gonna build muscles, bicep muscles here if you're only lifting a water bottle? No, it won't. If I were to tell you, can you lift a 20 pounds right away? The chances is if you have never lifted weight, it's impossible for you to lift a 20 pounds right away. So that's why you need to progressively overload. Okay, water bottle is too light. Let's try with a 5 pounds. Okay, now you can get, let's say 3 sets. You can do 10 reps, no problem. Let's move on to 7 pounds. 7 pound feels a little bit more challenging now, isn't it? Now, maybe a couple of weeks later, you feel good. Now let's move on to 10 pounds. So that's called the progressively overloading exercises. And same thing with our core. We need to challenge it with more challenging core exercises. You can only get so far with breathing, with core engagement, but you need to do more on top of it to stress the core muscles, to stress this to a point where it's almost like you can't do it anymore. It's like gonna sink, right? It's gonna dome, but it's not yet doming yet. You're challenging it so hard, you're shaking, your body is feeling the soreness, but you can still handle it. And that's the intensity I want you to keep in mind when you're challenging your core. Add on to it either with weights, with different positions, maybe side plank, maybe even a plank position, but maybe not a full plank yet. Traditional core exercises that you might be afraid to do it, but you can definitely do it. As soon as you're seeing you're progressing, you'll find it easier to do, and you're not bulging, doming, sinking. And then you just keep challenging yourself, keep one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and eventually you're gonna see that improvement just like I did. I did everything backward, right? I got the concepts of progressively overloading really early in my journey, but I didn't know that the breathing was so important, that my body alignment is out of whack. My form wasn't even right when I was doing exercises, and I was bulging, doming without even knowing. So it was not efficient for me, and at some point it probably worsened my situations. So I really wish that you don't. So that's why I'm filming this and creating this video for you, so that you're aware of how your body is. And if you are liking what you're hearing so far, please subscribe to my channel and also like this video so that more mamas can find this video, because my mission is to empower expecting mamas with the knowledge of ab separations, with the knowledge of healing, of helping their own body after postpartum, so that they feel good, they feel strong, and they feel so happy in themselves. And when they are happy, when you're happy, you are going to be able to provide more energy. You're going to feel confident taking care of your baby as well. And the last thing, and I did have it here, do you know what this is? So this is a dry brush. You probably get a lot of stretch marks after giving birth, right? The skin is kind of saggy and there are a lot of stretch marks around it. Having this to massage the belly would be really soothing for your skin. It will help you to regenerate that skin tissues sooner, and it's gonna be able to help you remove some toxics from your body. I ask my clients to do this all the time in my program, and pairing up with self-lymphatic drainage massage. So pairing up with oil, belly wrapping would be really good. So this is a bonus tip for you. There you have it. If I were to heal my diastasis recti again, this is exactly what I would do in those steps. Pregnancy, 6 weeks postpartum, and after 6 weeks postpartum, that's what I would do. I hope you find this helpful, and if you wanted to learn more, please subscribe to my channel, like this, and comment below like what was the most helpful thing for you that you learned today. I would love to know. And thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.